Daniel Reed's first night in his grandfather's old country house was supposed to be quiet, but a storm rolled in with a growl that rattled the windows. Something about the uneasy creaking above his head kept pulling his attention upward, toward the attic he'd never explored. Eventually, curiosity won, and Daniel reached for a flashlight.
As Daniel climbed the old ladder, the attic greeted him with a cold draft and the feeling that nothing up here had been touched in decades. Dust glimmered in the beam of his flashlight. Boxes, newspapers, and furniture lay scattered across the floor. Ordinary, forgotten things. But something in the far corner was different. Something waiting beneath a tarp.
In the corner, beneath a forgotten old tarp, Daniel uncovered something that didn't belong with the rest of the attic clutter. A small wooden chest bound in iron. Its brass clasp was still locked, and a single word was carved into the lid: "Remember." In that moment, Daniel knew this wasn't just storage, it was a secret.
Back downstairs, Daniel set the chest on the old dining table. Its weight felt purposeful, like it had been waiting for someone. When he found a key wrapped in cloth beside it, his pulse quickened. Everything felt strangely deliberate, as if his grandfather had meant for him to find it.
When the lock clicked open, Daniel expected coins or trinkets. Instead, the chest held something far heavier: a journal, a broken pocket watch, a photograph of two boys, and a letter sealed in red wax. Whatever this was, it wasn't treasure. It was a story, one his grandfather had never told. As Daniel flipped through the journal, the entries grew darker. His grandfather wrote about a younger brother, Thomas, whom Daniel had never heard of. There were stories of adventures, secrets, and then fear. Page after page, the tone shifted from nostalgia to guilt. Something terrible had happened, and Daniel was only beginning to understand. With shaking hands, Daniel lifted the sealed letter, the final piece of the puzzle. His grandfather's handwriting was unmistakable. As the red wax cracked beneath his thumb, he felt the weight of a secret that had been locked away for nearly half a century. The letter was a confession. Samuel revealed the brother Daniel never knew existed, Thomas, and the treasure they found in the woods the day before Thomas vanished. Every line bled with regret. He had spent his entire life searching for answers, and now he was begging Daniel to go where he could no longer go. The next morning, Daniel followed the creek just as his grandfather had instructed. The storm had washed the forest clean, leaving the smell of wet earth and pine in the air. With the old pocket watch in hand, he searched for anything that felt out of place, anything that might reveal the truth Samuel never found. And then it happened. The pocket watch, silent for nearly 50 years, clicked. Just once. But that single tick was enough. Daniel froze, staring at the impossible. Something beneath this very spot was reacting, something his grandfather never discovered.
Daniel clawed at the ground, uncovering something metallic just beneath the surface, a rusted nameplate, and beneath it, rotting wood. It wasn't just a hiding place. It was a buried structure. Something built long ago, now collapsing under the weight of years, and Daniel knew he was moments from uncovering the truth.
Inside the collapsed cellar, Daniel found what his grandfather had spent a lifetime searching for: bones untouched for decades, and beside them, a torn scrap of the same shirt Thomas wore in that old photograph. The truth hit him all at once. After 47 years, Thomas Reed had finally been found.
Within hours, the sheriff and his team arrived. They worked carefully, respectfully, confirming what Daniel already knew in his heart. After nearly half a century, Thomas Reed's disappearance was no longer a mystery, and Daniel found himself carrying the weight of a truth his grandfather never lived to see. A week later, the family gathered for a funeral that should have happened decades ago. Flowers, prayers, and quiet tears marked the moment Thomas Reed was finally laid to rest. Daniel stood at the front, the old pocket watch in his hands, no longer a symbol of loss, but of a promise finally kept.
Today, the chest sits on Daniel's bookshelf, not for the secrets it once guarded, but for the truth it finally revealed. And every time he walks past it, he remembers the message carved into its lid, a message his grandfather wished he'd understood sooner. Remember.